Welcome everyone to Serving the Tea with Dan Sky and Enos Williams,
a podcast dedicated to get to know players of the GLTA community.
Please like, share, and subscribe.
Thank you. This episode's guest is a VIP, a director of one of the tournaments that has been going on since 2010, a very positive character with an infectious smile. Please welcome Dan Comerford. Hello, Dan.
Hi, Enos. Hi, Dan. How are you guys doing?
Great.
We are very good, thank you. How are you?
Wonderful. Thanks. Thanks for having me today.
Our pleasure.
Being here.
Ready?
Serve.
What drove you to join GLTA and how did you find out about?
Sure. It all links back to when I restarted playing tennis again. So I played as a child. I stopped for a number of years. I came back, and the tennis club that I joined in Dublin, it's called Mount Pleasant, and in that club there's a lot of the Alta Tennis group. The Alta Tennis is the Ireland's Association for Queer Tennis, and I happened to really fall upon the GLTA by accident by joining this group. And this was back in 2016 is when I joined Alta Tennis, and the tennis club is Mount Pleasant, and then my first GLTA was then in 2017 in Manchester.
Oh, right. Well, can we call it like a happy accident, right?
A very, very happy accident. It's been I've really enjoyed my time in GLTA so far, and Alta Tennis, and I would say it's been transformative. I've really, really enjoyed my time.
Fantastic. So do you know any history behind the Dublin tournament and Alta Tennis? How did that organization come to be?
I do. I think it was roughly just before their first GLTA. I think it was a few years just before that. There was a group of a couple of guys. There's a lot of other LGBTQ plus sporting groups in Ireland, particularly Dublin. And someone felt one day, let's set up a tennis group. The guy was called Frank, and from that point on, that's when it used to be called Out 4 Tennis, and then over time it became Out 2 Tennis, and that's where we are today. And Out 2 Tennis is the national, I won't call it an association, but the national group for LGBTQ tennis in Ireland, and it's a very active group. They do lots of social tennis. So every month there's a social tennis, and they do 4 tournaments a year. And then they do, like last night, for example, we had a charity quiz, which helps fund our GLTA, and we also give money to charities. So it's a really active and fun group.
Oh, right. Well, it's a great organization. So,
then can you shed a little light on how does one become a tournament director? Did you volunteer? Did you get forced? How did that come to be?
I wouldn't say forced. I would say I was lubricated. So I'm going to blame.
Were you groomed?
So I was in La Manga at the time at a tennis academy, and a guy who is very familiar with lots of you is Manu Alvarado. He was tournament director in Dublin for a number of years, and he, at the time, we were there as a group doing practice and playing tennis. He basically kept giving me a drink that night and then asked me would I do it, and I said, okay, I'll do it. And now I'm on my 5th GLTA, and I was president of Alta Tennis for 4 years. So that's it. It's amazing what a couple of drinks can do to a guy.
Right. Well, funny enough, right? The Out 2 Tennis Dublin tournament is around the corner. It's in a month and a few weeks. So what surprises can we expect this year? Is it Rogers happening again? Like, why would one prioritize and come up to Dublin?
Great question. I love the Dublin tournament, and I know, Enos, you've been quite a few times as well, and
I'm coming.
I am, yeah. We're looking forward to having you. The Dublin tournament for me ticks a lot of all the boxes you need in a GLTA. So it's really fun. The guys are welcoming. The players that come are always very friendly. The tournament itself is well organized. The social element is very good. Dublin in particular, I think the banquet is really magnificent. So we have a really nice restaurant and bar. We do a show every year, and part of the show is the Roger Award. So Enos, if I'm not mistaken, you've been nominated a number of times. Maybe you've won.
Well, it's an honor to just be nominated, but I actually won twice.
Oh, what did you win?
The best outfit, naturally, and during pandemic, I won the best mask for mask, or you know, something like
Well,
that.
you're absolutely deserving of those two awards.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
now describing it and hearing, from the director himself, maybe next year I'll join.
Good. You'll
It's
be very welcome, Dan. We'd love to have you.
I attest to everything Dan said about the tournament from a participant perspective. So yes, definitely, I would recommend.
Great.
Um,
Thank you.
but sticking with the tournament a little bit, that event, I expect takes a tremendous amount of work. Tell us a little bit about the organizing team, because I do believe they deserve some recognition as well.
Absolutely. And Dublin every year always has a big support. So whether it's numerous directors, there's also a lot of people in the background that maybe not deemed a director, but there's a lot of support. We're very fortunate in Dublin to have a very tight-knit and supportive group. It does take a lot of work, but I think after doing it for so many years, it's really nailed down to a T. We have the formula, let's say, and it's literally just a matter of maybe every year just making some slight improvements or changes to that formula. So this year, what we typically do in Dublin is we have two fantastic venues, walking distance of each other. Mount Pleasant is the main venue, and it's a gorgeous tennis club in literally a couple of minutes walk from the city centre in Dublin. So we always use those two venues. The banquet this year is in a gorgeous boutique hotel with a really fab bar that overlooks the Liffey River. It's like usually a sit down, four-course tasting meal. It's very casual, and then we do the show then after that with John Darby and the Rogers. Did that answer your question?
Yeah,
What was the
absolutely.
question? I went on a tangent. Oh, the organizing, yeah. So it does take a lot of work. This year we have a number of directors. So it's myself, Kevin, James, Patrick, Danny, and Emma. And the aim this year, so I took a hiatus, a break for 2 years. Yeah, well done to the guys. Because I did it for 4 years in a row, and I took a break for 2 years. And again, I was asked to do the GLTA this year after a few drinks in Nuremberg this year. So I was like, absolutely, I'll do it. So I need to be very careful in the future that I'm not going to be taken advantage of after a couple of drinks. But I'm very happy to do it again, and the team that are doing it are absolutely fantastic.
There's a pattern. There's a pattern.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we would like to congratulate you and the rest of the team. You guys, I just heard only great feedback and, great things about Dublin. So kudos.
Thanks, Dan. It's a very fun tournament.
How do you compare the tournament, Dublin tournament, comparing to other tournaments? If we can go into more on objective, mode, and if you don't have to pick up your own tournament as your favorite, what would be the other one?
Yeah, let me think. I wouldn't say there's a single tournament my favorite. The tournaments that I've enjoyed over the last few years, I thought Poznan last year was absolutely fantastic. I really enjoyed it. The guys did a great job. Beautiful venue, great organizing. I really like Zurich. Paris has been fun. What else? The Nuremberg has been fun, but also the Belgian tournament. So there's actually, I wouldn't say there's any tournament I dislike. I mean, I know full well how much work it takes, so I always try and just appreciate every tournament. But for me, the first one that comes to mind is probably Poznan last year, and I wish the guys just a second year of it. So I wish them very good luck this year.
Right. Well, that's a great insight. Especially coming from a tournament director, you guys know and have the ability to appreciate the effort and the dedication. So.
Yeah, yeah. And then on the other side, if you see something going wrong, you're like, oh, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? So you see both sides. But you always, at times, I've often helped the team that are organizing at the time. So it's all about being that supportive community and making sure that all the tournaments are as good as they can be.
Are you tempted to give unsolicited advice to other tournament directors?
If they ask for it, I'm not going to go up and say, insult them or anything like that. Each tournament director has their own way they want to do things. But if someone came to me looking for advice, I would 100% support them, and I have in the past.
Definitely. I'm sure you would. So do you have an ambitious plan for this year? Where can we meet Dan on tour?
I wish I could do more genuinely, but I played Nuremberg in January, Dublin. I've also signed up for Hamburg, and I have Katowice as well. I'd love to do
Fantastic.
more, but with vacations and other stuff, it seems to be clashing with a lot of the tournaments this year, unfortunately.
Right. So, keeping on this route, what exciting to see on tour. Can you name a few players that you got close to, that you stay in touch on a daily, weekly basis?
It is actually, I've been playing GLT 2017, and I feel I've made an awful lot of friends, not just in Europe, but also further afield. Um, People I'd be, if I was visiting their city, I have the likes of Manu and Yesser in Madrid, the Dutch guys in Amsterdam, Hamburg guys. So there's actually, I mean, there's a lot actually. And I think with the GLTAs, I've often gone to a GLTA just by myself, and you'll always meet people that either meeting them for the first time or returning players that you just have a connection, an instant connection with. It's a really, I love the GLTA for that. It's a really supportive and friendly environment.
Amazing. Okay, enough about tennis for now. Let's go a little bit up close and personal, if you will.
Oh,
Who are you, Mr. Dan Comerford? Where were you born? Where are you based? And what do you do?
sure. I was wondering where you're going to go with that for a minute, Anis. So I was born in London, actually. My parents are both Irish, and they emigrated to the UK back in maybe 70s. I'm not quite sure at the time, but so I was born just outside London, and I moved back to Ireland when I was 5 to start school here. I was raised in a beautiful town called Cashel in County Tipperary. It's maybe 2 hours south of Dublin. And then I picked up tennis when I was roughly maybe 10 or 11 in Cashel. They have a lovely tennis club there. And I then left Cashel, Tipperary to start university in University of Limerick. And my background would be is biochemistry. So I then did a master's there as well. I moved to Cork for a few years working in biotech, and I now am in Dublin maybe 12 years working in the biotech pharmaceutical industry.
That's very
Right.
cool.
Right. So, yeah, speaking of, beginnings, how was your childhood? Maybe you would like and feel comfortable to share your coming out story.
Yeah, so I came out when I wasn't a child actually. My childhood was great. I had two sisters, lots of nieces and nephews, so my childhood was wonderful. My coming out story was when I was in third year of university. Um, I think as a queer person, you kind of always know deep down that you are maybe somewhat different or that there's something there. For me, that came to fruition when I was in my third year of university. There was a guy in the class who was gay. He stayed back, so he came into the year in third year, and we became friends instantly. And he invited me to Dublin for a Halloween party. And little did I know it was the George, and the George in Dublin is probably the premium, the longest running queer bar in the country. So I was dressed as James Bond in the George, and he went off finding friends, let's say. So I was left by myself, and then it was that night where I literally just started chatting to the guys in the bar, and then the rest is history. I have never looked back.
Fantastic. Um, and going a little light note, you've mentioned bars, pubs, etc. What's Dublin nightlife all about? Can you tell us a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, I think people think of Ireland, they think of Dublin, they think of amazing social life, and Dublin in Ireland does have an amazing social life. So we have a really good bar scene, the pub scene, in regards to if you just want to go for a quick or One Pint, for example, there's bars for that. If you want to go for the longer, maybe later nights, there's that as well. There's some great nightclubs in Dublin as well. I'm talking about queer clubs now and bars as well. The restaurant scenes, the food in Ireland is very, very good as well. It's all locally produced and it's very, very fresh. We're going back to more the bar side. So in Dublin, there are, is it four? Yeah, so maybe actually five queer bars that are open Monday to Friday. And then every weekend there could be maybe another four, maybe actually there might be everything, probably another the bars stay open late and then you have club nights as well. So it's quite active. It's a great environment and Ines, I'm sure you sampled the local social scene when you've been to Ireland.
I'm not on the spotlight today, so I'll keep that to myself.
I have to say,
I have sampled bars and others. But yeah, so is there like an official party at the Dublin tournament this year? After the banquet, do we move into a particular place? I remember visiting Panty Bar or George, but what's on the program this year?
Yeah, so we always have a welcome party. That's usually we have an area to ourselves in the Panty Bar, and that's on Capel Street. That's on the Friday. The Saturday is all tennis, but the actual venue itself is a really nice bar, so we'll have drinks there in the actual tennis venue. On the Sunday, then it's a banquet. That's going to be in Roberta's. It's a gorgeous old boutique. It's a really nice space. I think you've been before. So that probably runs until maybe around 1 o'clock. That's after a dinner and a show. And typically we recommend maybe two places for people to go. So the after would be typically be a club after that. So whether that be Mother, the George, there's numerous places to go after that. So there's no shortage of options anyway. And usually on Monday as well. So after the tournament, we have if anyone's still around, we go kind of for a casual dinner and a couple of drinks and after that as well. So if anyone is around, keep that in mind. You're very welcome.
Yes, we are. I remember joining you guys for dinner once, and it was fantastic.
Good.
I bet people also look forward to that, after tournament gossip dinner where, like spilling the tea and now, this occasion serving the tea. So yes.
Yes, spilling and serving the tea for sure. Yeah, it's always a good time.
I need Amos to stay sober and, like absorb all the information.
What are you insinuating?
Nothing, darling. Well, it's almost time to wrap up this interview. But before we do, let's play a very quick tie break. And when I mean quick, it's quick. You ready for it?
Absolutely.
It's a pop quiz. You have a few questions. You just got to answer with very short words.
Okay.
Ready? What's your favorite app, current app?
Instagram.
Cliche. What about your favorite song?
Excuse me, I have to interrupt. This is a safe space, Dan. Please respect the answers of our guests. Thank you.
My double fault.
At the minute, lots of Eurovision, so Bambi Thug representing Ireland.
Oh, nice. A movie that you can always rewatch.
Finding Nemo.
And now a funny question. Top, bottom, versatile, or side?
Bottom.
Single or partner?
Partners.
Your cocktail to go?
French martini or pornstar martini.
Fancy.
And what gives you fire? That shot on the court. What is that shot that gives you the adrenaline?
Probably forehand on the line.
Oh, lovely. Well, game, set, and match done. Thank you for not giving up on this exhausting interview.
That was really wonderful. Thank you.
But we're not done yet. There is homework if you still have the strength for it. So we're constantly looking for interesting guests to interview next. And if you have someone that you're dying to ask a question, please let us know. It doesn't have to be right now. You can send it over our Instagram account or on our email. We will make sure to invite them soon and ask your question. The part, if we disclose who asked that question, is still debatable. So depending on the nature of the question, we will disclose it or not.
Great. I'll keep that in mind.
Thank you.
Perfect. Well, from a Dan to another Dan, it was a pleasure and an honor to have you during the podcast. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you next Wednesday, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dan. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Join us next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.